Only you have joined as of now. Oh. So in this chapter, that is wastewater story, we would be learning about what is wastewater, what is sewage, what are the different substances, what are the different components of the sewage. Then about how we can treat this wastewater, how we can treat the sewage. We'll be learning about this. Getting it. Then we'll be learning about like what are the steps used in the sewage treatment. Okay, now we'll be learning about that. And then what is sanitation, what are the better sanitation practices that we need to take care of. Further, we will learn about some alternative sanitation methods, how we can reuse the wastewater, and also an environmental message. Okay, just 1 minute. Can you see my video?
Yes, sir. Sir, we have went to, we already started this and we went through slides.
I hardly can understand what you're saying. There's too much of background noise from your side. Zan, repeat again what were you saying?
We already started this chapter and we went
Yeah.
through slides.
We already have started this chapter. Yeah, I know that. Okay. In the previous classes, we had learned like what is wastewater, what is sewage, and all that thing we have been learning. Okay. So we learned that wastewater is the water that has been used and it contains so much of impurities in it. Like it contains dirt particles, soap particles in it, food particles. It will contain human and animal waste materials in it. Okay. Human and animal fecal matter, urine, etc. And will have some solid waste in it too, like plastic bottles, polythenes, etc. And there are various sources of this wastewater. It could be coming from our houses, right? From the kitchens, from bathrooms, or from the laundry also, right? Even soapy water is also polluting the water. That also makes the water waste the water. Getting it? Then the water that is discharged from the factories, from the various kind of industries, they contain unusual amount of dissolved chemicals in it. They contain different kind of acids, different kind of all sorts of chemicals are present in that water, which makes the water unfit for consumption. So that is also the source of the wastewater, right? Then from the agriculture also, the runoff water that is coming from the field, like if there's a given agricultural field and the water is flowing from this field to a river, so that water will be bringing in the fertilizers, the chemicals from that field to the given water body, and hence it will lead to pollution of the water body. So it could be chemicals like fertilizers, pesticides, or also it will include animal waste. Getting it? Is my video stuck? Can you see me?
Yes, sir. I can't see your videos.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me reconnect with the other device. Yeah. Further, another source of wastewater could be stormwater also, right? So rainwater when it is mixed with the pollutants from streets and the rooftops, right? So then also like that is also one source of the wastewater. Further, the question is like, why is this wastewater harmful? So this wastewater is harmful as it pollutes the rivers, lakes, and oceans, right? And it causes waterborne diseases like cholera, like typhoid. So many kind of diseases are spread from the wastewater also, right? Now, some of the examples are typhoid, cholera. Okay, in the later part of the chapters, we have a separate section where we'll be learning about sanitation and disease in detail. Give me a minute. Why is this stuck? So, since we are seeing that wastewater is very much harmful, right? It causes waterborne diseases like cholera, typhoid. It also harms the aquatic life due to the reduced amount of oxygen levels in the water. Getting it now? So, like what happens when too much of pollution increases in the water bodies? So, thereby the amount of oxygen in that water body starts to decrease. So, thereby the fishes, the plants will also start to die. So hence it becomes very much essential to treat the wastewater, right? So thereby, whatever kind of impurities are present in the wastewater, it should be first removed and then it should be released into the environment. Getting it? Further, we also discussed that what is sewage. So we learned that sewage is a liquid waste produced by the community of peoples, right? Like all of us are producing this liquid waste. Every household releases some wastewater, and sewage is essentially the wastewater that is released by the houses, industries, hospitals, offices, and the rainwater that has run down the street during a storm or heavy rainfall, right? So while we are cooking the food, right, we are washing the car, we are washing the clothes, right, we take shower, so we are releasing all the dirts, all the impurities in the water. So our household is also a major source of the pollution for the water getting it. It could be coming from the hospitals and offices also. Then sewage contains disease causing bacteria and other microbes which can spread a lot of diseases. So the water that we see here, the water that is flowing into the drain, it contains lots of disease causing organisms like bacteria, viruses are present in it. Getting it? Bacteria and viruses are present in it, and that can lead to a spread of deadly diseases. Getting it, Razan, so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then discharging of sewage into the river body contaminates our source of fresh water and leads to water scarcity and other problems. As we know that about 97.25%, about 97.5% of the earth is saline water only, right now? 97.5% of the
And
total water on earth. Yeah.
and 3% are fresh water.
Yeah. Somewhere around 3% or 2.5 or 3% around, you're left with fresh water, right? So we see that 97.5% roughly is salty water that is present in the oceans and seas, and it is not fit for our consumption.
Fresh water are found mostly in like mountains, glaciers, and underwater.
Exactly, getting it. So remaining 2.5% is fresh water that is fit for our consumption. We can use it, but out of this 2.5% fresh water, we see that 68.7% is frozen in the glaciers and ice caps. So we cannot access it now. We can't go on to melt those glaciers. So we are left with 30.1% that is under the ground right now that we are using basically. And only 1.2% of the fresh water is present in the rivers and the lakes and ponds or some other sources. So fresh water is very scarce now. We have very few amount of fresh water available for use, right? So further, what will happen when we are discharging the sewage into the river? So it will contaminate our source of fresh water now, right? The only source of fresh water which we are having access to is the groundwater and the rivers and the lakes and the ponds, right? And if we were to put all the waste materials into this, so we will not have access to clean water. We are polluting the fresh water, isn't it, Razan?
Yes, sir.
Right. Then not only is it is a threat for us, for we humans, but it is also a threat for the life of aquatic animals and plants. Aquatic animals that lives under the water, right? So therefore, it is important that the sewage, the liquid waste that we are producing, should be treated before discharging into the water bodies. Like, see, a factory is discharging this wastewater into the water body, into the river, right? But what should be the right way to discharge it? First, it should be treated, meaning that all the harmful substances from this should be removed first, and then only it should be released into the water body. Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we see that like water is basically our life, and without water there is no survival. Without water there is no survival. Getting it? So if we were not to drink the water for a few days, right, we might die of dehydration. Okay, read the given paragraph.
Water, our lifeline. Clean water is a basic need of a person for health. Earth has 71% water still there is Earth has 31% water still there is water scarcity and clean water is not available to everyone. Inability to access clean water leads to many water related diseases. Cleaning of water is a process of removing pollutants before it enters a water body or is reused. Pollutants are substances that cause contamination. This process of treating wastewater to remove pollutants is usually referred as sewage treatment.
Okay. So Earth, as we know, has 71% water, right? But still we are suffering from water scarcity because clean water is not available to everyone. When we go to parts of countries like parts of South Africa, so there so many people are not having clean water to drink right now because water is not evenly distributed everywhere. Like in some areas so much of water is present, but in some area very few amount of water is available. Getting it now? And the vast amount of water is salty. That is one problem. And cleaning of water is basically a process of removing all the pollutants before it enters a water body or is reused, right? For example, if for example via this pipe all the waste materials from our house is being released into the drain, right? What should be the right way? Before being released into the drain, it should be removed, right? Or before being discharged into the river, all the waste should be removed from it so that it does not causes contamination. Okay. And the process of treating the wastewater to remove the pollutants in it is referred to as sewage treatment. Okay, no? And water has the following importance. It is essential for life, vital for survival and bodily functions. Vital means something that is very important. Okay, now? So it is very important for survival and bodily functions. Getting it now? Like each and every cell of our body requires water to carry out its duty. If our cells were not to get adequate amount of water, it will not carry out its functions in a proper manner. Getting it? Then agriculture, the foundation of agriculture is water and soil, right? Without it, agriculture cannot be done. Yes.
Your video is still off.
Yeah, actually, what happened? Like, I have turned my computer on after a while, so there seems to be some network issue with it. I mean to say, some connection issue with it. I'm trying to fix it,
Yes.
but it is not getting resolved. Maybe in the next class, I'll be able to connect with the camera. Okay, no? Uh, Okay, I have turned it on once again. Let me see if it works. Otherwise, this is how we will continue today as well. So we know that crops cannot be grown without the water, right? Now, irrigation, like irrigation is the process of
Yes.
providing water to the fields, providing water to the crops, right? So it is needed for irrigation and the production of the food. In fact, the very fundamental process that is keeping all of us alive is photosynthesis, right? Now, the plants do photosynthesis. What are the materials required by the plants to carry out photosynthesis?
Sunlight, water, carbon dioxide,
Yeah. So
oxygen.
it is released now, oxygen, and oxygen is released. Okay. So we see that water is a very essential requirement for plants to do photosynthesis. So that is also one such importance of water. It is used for drinking, cooking, and cleaning purposes, supports cooling, cleaning, and manufacturing. There also in the industries, like when a heavy machinery is being manufactured. So in order to cool down that machines, water is required. Getting it? No? For the purpose of cleaning and in the process of manufacturing also it is required. Then water also maintains a proper balance in the nature, like it maintains ecosystem and balances the climate, right? Without the presence of water, like the ecosystem will be disturbed. Okay. Then to maintain our health it is important, and also for keeping us uh, for sanitation also it is important, right? So it prevents diseases and ensures hygiene, right? Now just think about it, like without water we cannot keep ourselves clean, right? Now do we have any other alternative? Can we take bath with anything other than water? Of course no. So it is important in this manner also. Then it also supports industries like, as we have discussed, agriculture, fishing, and the tourism sector also. So it has some economic value also, right? From agriculture, money is being generated, right? From fishing also money is being generated by selling the fishes, and from the tourism industry also money is being generated. So it has some economic value also. Then it is playing a very important role in the water cycle and controlling the temperature. If there is a scarcity of water, right, so thereby the temperature will increase. If in a given region there hasn't been rainfall for 2 to 3 years, so the temperature of that region will go on to increase, isn't it, Razan? Okay,
Yes, sir.
that is the case. So water is a scarce and precious resource that must be conserved. Okay, now, conserved means to protect something from being harmed, okay, from being polluted in the sense. Okay, and we have done this question by the way. Then we were also learning about the components of sewage. So the sewage has got different kind of components, like it has organic impurities, right? So it includes human excreta, like human feces. 1 minute. That is human feces, right? Or the urine. It contains food waste, oil and grease, and in fact animal waste also, right? So organic impurities are the kind of impurities that are coming from the living organisms, or waste related to the living things. Getting it now? Food waste in the sense, food waste is also organic impurity, because the food that we're getting was once part of a living organism. Getting it now? The fruits and vegetables were once part of a living plant. The animal and the milk were once part of a living animal. So all these are the organic impurities that comes from the living organisms. Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
So the sewage that is flowing into the drain has got these kind of impurities in it also. Okay, hope you're getting it. Then it has got some inorganic impurities also, right? So inorganic impurities are basically the different kind of chemicals, like it is nitrates, phosphates, salts, and metals. Then it has got pathogens also. Pathogens are basically the disease causing microorganisms, right? Those organisms that leads to the spread of disease, they are called as pathogens in short. So we have got different kind of bacteria, viruses, and parasites. They are also present in the sewage. Then we have got, like in the drain, in the open drains usually, like in this case you will see that many of the waste would be floating on this, basically like in an open drain like this one. Okay, like there could be plastic bottles, polythenes, or pieces of wood or some other things that will be floating on it, or that will remain suspended in it. It will not settle down at the bottom. So thereby we have got suspended solids. It could be plastic, paper, and other insoluble materials. Insoluble means that that's something that does not gets dissolved. Okay, no. Further, we have got different kind of chemical pollutants also, chemical waste in it also, like the detergents, pesticides, and chemicals from the industries also. So these are the different components. Hope you have understood this.
Sir.
Okay, only you have joined the class today.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the liquid waste that is being generated, the liquid waste that is the sewage. Okay. What is happening here? As it is collected from different places, like in this diagram, see, the liquid waste that is sewage is being collected from our house, right, from various sources, from the bathtubs and the basins and washrooms and all that, from the toilets, right? So it is being collected from our houses, from offices, from hospitals and schools, and on all such places. Then it is being carried from the source, it is being carried from the source to a place where it will be cleaned, right? So first it is being collected from our houses and schools and hospitals and other stuff and other kind of buildings. Then it goes via these pipes. Via this pipe, it will go to a wastewater treatment plant. Like in this one, it will go to a wastewater treatment plant like this, where it will go through numerous processes, and in each process it will be cleaned. Right now, so right now we are talking about the journey of the water, like the wastewater that is coming from our houses, how it goes to be cleaned, how it is cleaned. Getting it now? So the liquid waste that is sewage goes to the point of disposal from the point of being produced through the network of big and small pipes called sewers. So as I said moments ago, that as you can see in this diagram also, that the sewage is being collected from all the buildings, from schools, hospitals, etc. Then it goes into these pipes. These pipes that are called as sewers, Sewers, sewers. And from these sewers, you will see that it will go to a wastewater treatment plant. As you can see in this diagram, it will go into the wastewater treatment plant, where it will go into different chambers, and in each chamber the waste materials will be removed from it. So right now we are talking about this eventful journey of the water. Okay, now, so that is water freshens up, how the water gets freshened up. That is the eventful journey of the water. Okay. So from all those different places, as I said you, that the sewage is being collected, and all the sewage goes into the pipes. These pipes here, we call this as sewers. And you might have seen that at regular intervals, those pipes will be having an opening like this. Have you seen this, Yes, Roseanne? It will have an opening
Sir,
like this. So those openings are basically connected to these pipes. So it has openings on it like this. That is called as manhole. That is called as manhole. So manholes are basically small covered openings in this pipe. Okay. That will be located to at a distance of about every 50 to 60 meter in this pipe. So every 50 to 60 meter, you'll be having this one manhole, right? So for example, if the waste metals that are flowing into this pipe called as sewers, 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 if something gets stuck in it, if a big chunk of waste were to get stuck in it, suppose this is a big piece of waste material. So in order to inspect it, in order to get remove it or clear the passage, the manholes are created. So we are saying that the liquid waste from the different places are collected first, then it goes are collected and goes into these pipes that are under the ground. As we can see in this diagram, these are under the ground. And in these pipes, you will see that at regular intervals, particularly in this diagram, you can see here. See, over here you have got this manhole. Right now, this is the manhole. So if something is stuck in these pipes, we can go there. The workers, the manhole cleaners will go there to inspect it and clear the path for the removal of, for the flow of the sewage in those pipes. And like all this network of these pipes, like there are so many pipes. If you were to see here, there are so many pipes under the ground, and they form a network. There's a network of these pipes, and that forms the sewerage system or the drainage system. System or drainage system. Okay. So manholes, as I was telling you moments ago, they are found at the junction of two or more sewers and at points where there is a change in direction. What does it mean to say? Suppose that this is the sewer, basically the pipe in which sewage flows. Okay. Now, if suppose There's another sewer connected to this. There is another sewer. Let's say this is the sewer 2. That is the sewer number 1. Razan, you getting it so far? So at the junction of these two sewers, like where these two sewers would be meeting, a manhole is created. Where this pipe and this pipe is meeting, you have this manhole in the ground. This will give you a better idea about this one. See, this is this is present there, right? And it is present every 50 to 60 meter. Getting it now? Like suppose the next manhole would be present over here, and the distance between them would be about 50 to 60 meters. So every 50 to 60 meter we have a manhole. So that is the manhole. Okay. So at the junction of two or more sewers, or at points where there's a change in direction, the direction is being changed. So there are more chances of the waste being stuck at this change in the direction, at this point where the direction is changing. So there the manhole is present, right? And what is the purpose of all these sewers, all these pipes? It is to carry all those sewage into the wastewater treatment plant, this thing over here, which we'll discuss later on. So these pipes that you see over here, no, all these pipes are basically bringing the sewage, and it further goes into the different chambers for the purpose of cleaning it. Okay. Read the given paragraph.
Sewage system or drainage system. A drainage system is an arrangement to move liquids away from where they are not required for disposal to appropriate locations. A drainage system can include anything from gutters and drains in houses to remove rainwater, stormwater systems to drain rainwater from roads into roadside drains, and drainage systems to remove sewage from houses into municipal sewer for disposal.
Good. So this is an arrangement. Like the sewage, it's not a like it's not we won't consider, or we won't like it if the sewage were to be flowing into the open streets now. It is an unwanted thing right now. Getting it now? All the wastewater, it should be removed from this region, from this area where the people are living, to a place where it can be cleaned, right? So for that purpose, we have this drainage system or the sewage system, which is an arrangement to remove all the sewage from this place to an appropriate place where it will be disposed, where it will be cleaned. Getting it? So
Yes,
it will have so much of different pipes will be there, different gutters would be there in this, right? And we will see that via some of the pipes now, even the rainwater will go into this right now. Rainwaters will also go via these pipes uh, um, into the sewerage system, and from there it will be carried to the wastewater treatment plant. Further, we see that like there can be two types of drainage system. In some region, we have got well-developed drainage system that is under the ground, but in some regions now we have an open drainage system where the sewage is flowing in the open drains like this, which is poorly maintained, Getting it? Okay.
yes, sir.
So talking about the closed drainage system, first thing is that it is an underground drainage system which is hygienic in the sense that it does not lead to the spread of disease, as the water is, as the sewage is not exposed to the air, it is covered, it is under the ground. Getting it now? That is one thing. So which is hygienic and carries the sewage sewage to the waste water treatment plant via the pipes called as sewers. So important thing to be considered that it is underground, it is hygienic, and is carrying the water via the pipes called as sewers to the wastewater treatment plant. Later on, we'll be discussing about this wastewater treatment plant in detail. As of now, just understand that this wastewater treatment plant is basically a place where the impurities from the sewage is basically removed, and then the water that we get after removal of impurities is then being discharged into the water bodies. Getting it, Razan? Okay, no. Talking about the open drainage system. Open drainage system. This is a poorly maintained, poorly maintained open drain system in which water and sewage is exposed to the air and becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes and bacteria. So thereby, will this one not lead to a spread of diseases?
Yes, sir.
It will no. So that is one big problem associated with this. Okay. So it is poorly maintained and leads to a spread of disease. Okay. So that was about the open and closed drainage system. Now, even like in India, we get to see that although we have in different cities, we have the closed drainage system right now, the one which we have discussed earlier. This open drainage system is usually in such places which are not well developed. Okay, now which are not well developed. Getting it in the backward regions particularly. But even if we have this closed drainage system now, there is one big problem associated with this. Now remember about this manhole, right, Rzan?
Yes, sir.
Now, while we see in the developed countries, okay, the sewage system is a bit enhanced. Okay, the pipes are more broader and well planned. But in India, we get to see that the sewerage system or the drainage system, also called as drainage system, is not well maintained. Okay, it's not well maintained and poorly designed. So thereby, what happens? You might see the workers like these, the manhole cleaners would be physically going down there and will be cleaning it, and that's a deadly job. Oftentimes, it leads to death. Okay, they would be dying of diseases, and if, for example, while stepping into these open manholes, if they were to get they were to be injured, so due to infection, they will die, and because of inhaling toxic gases also, they will be facing some breathing problems. Getting it now? So that is one concern associated with this manhole. So thereby we should be having some alternatives, like we should be preferring the help of the robotic machines, robots, in order to clean those clogged manholes. Clogged manholes, like if something is clogged into it, thereby we can use it. Answer this question.
Storage manholes are located at every 50 to 60 meters.
50 to 60 meter, good. And it's basically a vertical section like this, right? And in fact, it has stairs in this, like this one. But in India, like the one that you saw over here, it does not have any stairs. Inside this, it does not have any stairs, right? As you
Then
can
how
see
did
here.
they get the?
Yeah, they would
How
be
did they
taking
get in?
they would be taking help of bamboo stairs or like that. Okay, or this, even if the stairs are there, they are very poorly made, like not like this. Okay, no, not in this manner. Okay, so steps are there but not well maintained. Then talking about the wastewater treatment plant, also in short written as WTTP. By the way, am I visible to you now or not?
No, sir.
Give me a minute. Okay, now I should be.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so wastewater treatment plant, as I was saying you that it's basically a facility or basically a place where the water would be treated, the waste water, that is the sewage, is treated physically, chemically, or biologically. Different processes are used to clean it. Getting it now? Right? So in the wastewater treatment plant, firstly we will see that the water is passed, 1 minute, the water is through the uh, passed through these bar screens, right? We should be, would be we should will be removing the large objects like plastic bottles, sticks, cans, or rags will be removed from it. After this, the water will go to the grid tank. Getting it now? So
Yes.
where in this tank, grit and sand will be removed. Okay, now I'm just giving you a
Sir,
small overview of this. All these things we are going to discuss in detail.
we
Yes,
can
Suzanne.
make dirty water into clean water with the help of an activity, right? Like
Mhm.
cotton, stones.
Mhm. Yes, we can do that also. But that is on a small scale. Now, when you have just 1 or 2 liters of water, or 5 to 10 liters of water, suppose. So if you have few, just a small volume of water, then you can use that method. But see, when you are having so much of water, a large volume of water is there. So thereby, it needs to be done in a manner where we can clean lots of water at a time. Getting it now? And it should be cost effective also. It should not be a time taking process. So all those things have to be considered. Getting it? Okay. So it will pass through the grit and the sand removal tank, right? Okay. And the process of removing grit and sand will be, we will see that it is basically screening, and then water will be allowed to settle in a large tank which is sloped towards the center to separate the sludge from it. Okay, we'll be explaining to you that what is sludge. After this, the sludge will be transferred to an aeration tank, as you can see here. Getting it? It is transferred to an aeration tank where it is decomposed by the help of anaerobic bacteria, and air is pumped to assist aerobic bacteria to grow in this. And bacteria will consume the unwanted matter that is still remaining in the water. Further, we'll see that the activated sludge will be there that will contain water, and this water will be removed by sand drying beds of machines, as we can see here. And it is necessary to disinfect the water chemically with the help of chlorine and ozone. We will be killing all the kind of unwanted materials in it, right now. So that will be done in the disinfected chamber. So let us discuss about all of this, right? How it is done. But before that, as we are learning about the wastewater treatment plant, so it's basically facility. It's basically a place where the different kind of waste materials from the sewage is being removed via physical method, via chemical method, and via biological method. Getting it?
Sir, the
Mhm.
short form should be WWTP, right?
Yeah. Thanks for noting. Thanks for pointing this. I didn't mention. I didn't pay attention to this. Yeah, WWTP. Good. That is a wastewater treatment plant. Okay. So wastewater treatment plant, that it is a, a place a place where wastewater or sewage. Wastewater, sewage, they are the same thing here. Okay, now can be used exchangeably. So where wastewater or sewage from houses and other buildings is brought for processing. Is brought for processing basically means that for the purpose of cleaning it. Okay. So let us discuss about the different methods that will be used here. First of all, talking about the physical process that will be used. As I told you that physical process, biological and chemical process will be used in the cleaning, right? And it also depends upon what kind of contaminants, what kind of impurities are present in the wastewater. Okay, now. So on the basis of that, the physical, chemical, or biological methods will be used. Getting it now? Suppose if suppose for example you have some water and it only contains plastic waste in it and no other kind of waste material is present in it, so we can only use the physical method to remove the plastic bottles or other kind of stuffs which are basically suspended in it, which are insoluble in nature. Getting it, Razan, what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So firstly, as you can see here, these are called as barred screen. These screens, like these kind of structures that you see over here, these are called as bar screens, right? So why this? The water will be first passed.
Sir, what does
Yes.
physical treatment mean?
Physical treatment meaning that you are not taking help of any living organisms for the process of cleaning the water. Neither you are using any kind of chemicals to clean the water. So physical treatment, like physical separation. In the chapter separation of substances in your previous
Like
grade, you
by
would have learned
yourself?
by not by
Yes.
ourselves, not by ourselves, but with the help of these um, bar screens. If you were to look at this one over here, see, these are the bar screens like this one, cage like mesh like structures. Getting it? So as the water is passing through it, so plastic bottles, pieces of wood and polythene will be stuck on it and it will be left on it only. Getting it now?
Yes.
Okay, so that is the physical treatment given to the water. Okay, so in this one, so we have got the bar screens. These are called as bar screens. Okay, so the bar screens first will remove the large rubbish objects like the sticks, cans, plastic bottles, poly bags, napkins, could be sanitary towels, etc. So the bar screens removes the large. Did you confirm, Razan? Is this chapter there in your syllabus? Did you confirm it from your teacher? Okay, you told me about some of the activities that will be done related to this chapter. That is what you told me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did the teacher told you in regard to the activity? Like, what will they be asking you to do?
Like we won't, I don't think we'll be doing activities. Like
Mm-hmm.
she teaches what all is there, but there won't be any notes or anything like
Oh, okay.
that. That's with the chapter like for us.
Okay, okay, getting it. So it will have poly bags, could contain napkins in it, right? Or it could also have sanitary towels, etc. Right? So basically, it is passing through a barred screen now. So thereby, this method can also be called as screening. Okay, now that is also called as screening, right? So the process of passing the sewage through the barred screens, in simple terms, that is basically screening, right? So the process of passing the sewage through bar screens is called as screening. Hope everyone have got it. Hope you have got it so far. Okay.
Yes, sir.
After this, no, the after passing through the bar screen, the wastewater is then taken to a tank called as grit and sand removal tank. The one that you see over here, where the sand and the grit and the pebbles are being removed from this. Okay, now. By the way, you understand what is grit? Na? Grit, grit.
Yes, sir.
No, sand,
Sand, yes.
sand and the pebbles.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no, yeah. So it is kind of like that only. Grit, sand and pebbles. Okay, grit is a little bigger in size in comparison to the sand. Okay, pebbles you have seen. Have you seen the pebbles in the aquarium? Pebbles that are
Yes,
put
sir.
into the aquarium like that. Getting it now. So grit, sand, and pebbles, if it is present in the water, that will be removed also. So that is also part of the physical treatment only. Getting it now? That is also part of the physical treatment because we're not using any kind of chemicals or microorganisms in this one, right? So
Grit is like a stone or something?
small pieces of the stone, very small. Okay, no? Grit are larger in size in comparison to the sand, but smaller than the pebbles, I would say. Getting it?
Yes.
Okay, that is the case. Further, as I was saying that after passing through the through bar screens, the water goes to a grit and sand removal, grit and sand removal tank. Okay. So in this one, the grit and the sand and the pebbles would be settling down slowly at the bottom of the tank as the water will be passing through this. Once again, take a look at this diagram as the water is slowly passing through it. So on the bottom of this tank, all those unwanted particles, sand, grit, and pebbles would be accumulating on the bottom. Correct? That is the case. Like the pebbles would be very few. Okay. Sand would be there, but pebbles would be very few in it. Grit and sand removal tank, right? So the water passes slowly into the tank and these sand, grit, and pebbles settles at the bottom. It settles at the bottom. Okay. And whatever settle impurities are there, the sands that are settling at the bottom, they are removed from the tank from time to time. Otherwise, the tank will be filled with the sand and the silt, right now. So regularly, time to time, this grit, sand, and pebbles that is depositing at the bottom Rizan, it will be separated. Getting it now? So time to time, sand, grit, and pebbles are removed. Otherwise, the tank will be filled and it will lead to some problem. Okay. So that was the case. So far we had only been learning about the physical treatment. Okay, Rizan? That was the physical treatment. Now, after the grit tank, the water goes into the settling tank. It goes into the settling tank. Okay. Now, in this tank, what is happening? You can observe that this tank, being called as settling tank or
The
also called as
sand,
sedimentary. Continue.
the sand and all will be settled down.
No, that is not sand. The sand and the grit and pebbles has already been removed from the grit tank. The water that is coming to this sedimentation tank, also called a settling tank, it does not have sand or silt or pebbles in it. Okay, no, Rizan? Okay. So this is the sedimentation tank. There are two sedimentation tanks. I'm like, this one is the first sedimentation tank. Okay. So in this, it like this tank is sloped downwards towards the center. You can see it is sloped towards the center. So it has solid waste materials like fecal matter. Fecal matter, like human fecal matter, stool, and uh, animal waste. It will be settling at the bottom. So this thing that you see here is called as sludge. What do we call this? SLUDG is sludge. What is this? This is basically solid like fecal matter. Okay, that is settling here. Then also we see that in this, if you were to observe, this is not very clear, but there are some foam like particles also settling on top of it. Getting it now? So you have oil and grease, they are lighter than water now. So oil and grease floats on the surface of the water, and time to time the oil and grease is being removed by the help of a skimmer. Getting it what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
Removed by a skimmer. Skimmer is a kind of a tool, a kind of a machine that is used to remove it. And this here is basically oil and grease that floats on top of it. So it has to be removed time to time. That is one thing. Okay. Hope you have understood it so far.
Yes.
Okay. As you can see here also. By the way, one more thing, that those oil and grease particles that have settled here, oil and grease, and there could be some other particles also in it that will be lighter in density and will float on top of water. That is called as scum, SCUM, scum. And that is regularly removed with the help of, as I told you, removed
Skimmers.
with a skimmer. Exactly. Okay. Remove with a skimmer. Is that much clear to you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Further, what about the sludge? So sludge is also removed time to time. At regular interval of time, that sludge is also being removed from this by the help of a scraper. Right? So removal of sludge, it is removed with an instrument or a tool called as scraper. So these two terms you need to memorize. The scraper and the skimmer. Okay, now the sludge is separated continuously with the help of a scraper. And scum is regularly separated with the help of a skimmer. Very good. Okay. Further, the sludge that has been obtained here, it is passed into a tank. Take a look at this one. It is being made to pass into a tank where anaerobic bacteria will decompose it and will produce biogas. So as you can see here, the sludge is flowing into this tank that we are calling as digester. That we call as digester. And in this digester, what will happen to that sludge? You know about anaerobic bacteria?
Yes,
This,
sir.
yeah, the bacteria that will do respiration in the absence of oxygen, right?
Yes, like yeast.
Yeast is not a bacteria, but it is a fungi.
Uh,
But that's a good example of anaerobic respiration. It does anaerobic respiration. Okay, now bacteria also are capable of doing anaerobic respiration. Okay, now so we have anaerobic bacteria decomposes. We're talking about the digester right now. Okay, decomposes the sludge